swear, it's one of those days where I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. I have no idea where I'm even starting. It's just weird. And another thing that is weird is like I was so out of it. I drank that blue lotus flower tea again, and went to bed. And it does put you in some sort of deeper state of sleep where you dream a lot. It's like you're just in a constant dream. I don't know. It's like very active or something. I don't know, because I know you're active while you're sleeping anyways, but I don't know. It is different. And it's weird too, because I was be like aware of the room. Like I've talked about before, it's like I'm having a conversation in my head during the night, and then it's like I'm aware of the conversation. Hold on. I feel like there's something in. That's one thing about those, all drinking all those powders, those root powders, is the they're grain. There's a lot of grainy stuff. I can feel it in your mouth. And anyways, so whatever I was saying, I wanted to say something about because I was so out of it. So I was so sleeping so hard. And it was like very active though. It was so weird. And then Stella kept being uncomfortable and waking me up. And I kept being really like out of it. And I would just fall back asleep. Well, then she got up and she was having a fit too, or something. I think she had to go out and go pee or something. I don't know if she's just uncomfortable or what, which it is so weird now to see her up walking without that lump on her side. And I keep feeling all the other ones because I keep really trying to keep up with, is she getting more or less? But I'll tell you that medicine that I was talking about, that I held up yesterday, you're not allowed to talk about it. That's why I'm vague. I don't know if it could be people who are new to the channel, new that don't realize like how much we have to talk in a code. And so, yeah, that medicine you can't talk about. And there is significant the changes though I've seen with Stella, like for sure. And other people are doing videos about their dogs having autoimmune and it being miraculous. And so far so good with Stella. There was such a huge improvement on the boron too. So that, and then I always give her, I've still got all these itches and tingles all over me. I haven't seen anything significant from taking it. Like I was all worried of taking it. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have these things coming out of me and it's gonna freak me out. Which I just saw a woman opening a can of raviolis for her little baby. She's gonna microwave it. It's just so weird when you know so much of this stuff and you see how people live. It's just, I don't know. It's very strange to be changing all of your perspectives in a world where the perspectives are different. And, it's weird to be an outsider. It was one thing when I was an outsider when I was younger, because then you have it was a different perspective. Now my perspective's so different about it. And so, yeah, I look at the whole thing so differently, but it's weird to, but anyways, there's so many recipes. There's so many of these people who do recipes on TikTok. So many people, heat it up in the microwave, just heat it up in the microwave. Older women, younger people, just all across the board. And it's like, man, if you look up about the studies and stuff with the radiating your food and how toxic, and the one study that I had just seen recently was something like, I don't remember what it was. Like for one rat, they microwaved all of their food, and then the other one they didn't, and the one died. I mean, it's all the stuff about it is bad. Everything that they have put us into our lives for convenience has all been to conveniently make us sick for them. That's the convenience, is to shorten our time here, even though it's all set anyways. It's not like we can do it now. We came in to play the part. And there's just a lot of different parts being played out. Because there's the realizing parts, there's the showing part. Like, there's just so many. It's just like all the things. Everything has to experience itself. So all things are experiencing and being experienced, and the experiencers. And so it's just all things, you know. So but it's weird for sure. And it's weird to go through this. I swear to God. I just feel so weird all the time. I feel so disconnected. I don't know if having, I don't know, going back to just being me and Stella again, it's like goes back into some kind of magic world of existence or something. I don't know. I'm very curious to see where, you know, where my path is leading me. Like, very curious. But so this morning, she woke up, you know, and she wouldn't go back to sleep. And so I was like, fuck. I felt so out of it. And I went and let her out, and I looked at the clock and I thought, oh, it's like 2:30. Fuck, man, I'm so tired. I feel like I could just keep sleeping. And I wanted to go lay back down. I kept trying, and she kept having a fit. So I was like, okay, fuck. Get up and start doing all the stuff she wants to do. So then it gets to the point where I can't just lay back down and go back to sleep. That's why I just go ahead and do this. It's like perfect timing, because then she's asleep. Because as soon as I lay down, it's like all these things start going in my head. And it's like I got to go talk about them so I can get them out of my head, so I can, it's like quiet the voices so I can go back to sleep. And then I go into such a weird state when I go back to sleep. But when so when she's keeping me up, so I get my phone, and then I saw, it was like, oh my God, it's 12:30. It's like, fuck, no wonder I'm so tired. And so then you know, just all stuff, and just was like, okay, let's do that. But this just is like why my day, it just keeps getting so weird and fractured. And it just keeps doing it more and more. It's not like, I don't know. I don't think that the whole idea of a structured schedule is like, why? Why is there a structured schedule? Why don't we just go with the flow? Sleep when we want to sleep, be up when we want to be up, do work when we need to do work. And it's just weird as how, like, my day will become so split up or something. It just, I don't know what else to say but fractured. It's like all these segments. And where I'll be sitting there thinking like, oh my gosh, did I even go walk Stella? And it's like I have to go back through the day and be like, yeah, we went out for a walk. But everything is so, I don't know, it's so weird right now. And just going out and doing stuff, it feels so weird. And now I don't have to go anywhere. Like, I don't know. I don't think I have anywhere to go. I got stuff that I was just gonna make, like, I don't know, my own little special dinner or something for myself for Christmas. But it's kind of just like, I don't know. It's like a day that is so programmed into us that it's hard to ignore it entirely. And I had seen this one guy, and he was talking about that him and his wife had decided no more Christmases last year. And so they tried it last year, and it was really hard on their kids. And so this year they decided they weren't going to be selfish and make it all about themselves, and they were going to give the kids a Christmas. And I could totally see, because I have seen, you know, been watching all this stuff play out, and I've ran through all these scenarios in my head. And I thought, yeah, if you've got kids, it's easy for me. Like, I don't put up any Christmas decorations. Well, I have this one thing that the neighbor had given me, all full of candy and stuff. And so it's like a nutcracker can. And I love, like, those cans and stuff because, I don't know, you can use the cans for stuff. But that's the kind of stuff that they used to use. Like back in the old days, women kept stuff in those kind of tin cans and jars. And now everything is plastic and it's seeping out chemicals into. And then if you put stuff in when it's warm, it seeps out all sorts of, like, you have to look them up. It's like PF 190, which is parafluorocorazine and all these weird things. And, that's what we're eating. Oh, and the lady with the raviolis. So she was going to heat up some raviolis for her kid in the microwave. So she was spreading them out on the plate. And when she did, she was trying to move two apart. But then she saw that somehow it opened the ravioli or whatever. And then she saw all these bugs. So she started pulling these bugs out. And these larvae sacs, like whole big egg sac things, and she found all this, and this is canned raviolis, and she said she bought it at Walmart in Alabama, and it was a 4-pack, and so anyways, that's canned. Just imagine what some of those food plants are like, and people go and work there. There's people who go and work at places of stuff we eat, and they have to wear hazmat clothes to make our food. And then people wonder, like, why we're sick. And it's so wild. It's because it's like, seriously, people don't even wonder. All you got to do is tell them on the news that there's a sickness somewhere in a place that they feel judgy about, that they think is dirty and below them, and think, that people live a certain way. And in all these different cultures, people do eat very differently. And very differently. Oh my gosh, I can't believe some of the stuff I've seen on TikTok with the food. Like, that's where I saw about, like, in the Philippines, the place where they have to dig through the garbage to get the organic waste so that they can go in and soak it and cook it. Oh, so gross. And then they sell it like that's a street food. Like, if you're walking around in a place that you don't really know what you're eating, you're just trying the different things. That is something that they cook at that place. And there's a bunch of different things when you watch these different, they just eat different than us. They prepare food different than us. And it's just different cultures. It's whatever you are around or whatever you're raised around. It becomes like your norm. And that's what I was talking about before, even with all the homes that had like abuse and stuff. It becomes the person's norm, and then they have things that they have to grow. But see, we have this whole disruption in that whole development stage. In our society, we've got a lot of disruptions right now of a lot of areas of development that so many people need to look at. And a lot of good things are happening for the girl from here. There's a lot of really good stuff, so I'm just keep hoping that, because right now it seems like the universe is just laying a red carpet out for her to, for her healing and for just positive things in her life. And so it seems like really, really good. But there's always can be, even when everything is going good, you can still have things that will, jump in to, it's a lot of people look at it as like the universe is testing you, and it kind of is like, it's like testing you, because I have noticed it's like you learn something or you think something or whatever, but then it will come in to push you and see if you can still stay that way. If you're pushed, if it's harder, can you still think that way if this happens, if this person says something? Can you still stay strong, or do you feel more triggered? Because you have certain people who trigger you more than other people. There's certain people in your life that they could think something and you just, you'll have a different attitude. But then there's other people who can think something and it will make you feel horrible. And, it's weird because a mom can do that so easy to her kids, and it's not like the mom wants to. I think most of the moms don't want that power. We'd rather have a good relationship with our kids than our kids to think that we are always judging them and always like they have to live up to some standard I don't know, is when they're little kids and they get in trouble. And maybe that is a part of, like, you know, we've got to get more comfortable in society of being able to allow kids to figure their own boundaries out, to not be so hyper vigilant like a helicopter parent over our kids, telling them the rules, telling them this, telling them who they got to be, how they got to be. I just saw another one of those, I don't know, mission statement of the Rockefellers or something, of how to destroy people from the inside, how to make them doubt everything and feel bad about themselves. And it worked so good because that is what they created, is a society full of people who, and intermingled with that video, I also saw this one guy. He keeps doing these really interesting videos because about, one was about bells, and they went through this whole thing destroying bells. He does a lot of really interesting videos, but about the bells and how the frequency, how it used to ring the bell and it would send out a vibration through the little town, and it was very healing vibration. And so they destroyed all the bells. And he was saying too, like in the 1920s is when they started changing everything, lying about history, lying about, like, things started disappearing. The Smithsonian would go to all these, like, I know there was like a lot of articles and stuff that people will find about the giants, and they'd find giant bones and stuff. A lot of those articles are like from 1918, 1912, and there would be like farmers who would be out doing a dig in their yard, doing, you know, digging up something, and they'd find all these giant bones. And so it'd be a big thing, and it'd be in the paper. And then the Smithsonian would come out and take all the bones and take control of the whole thing. And then all the information would always disappear. So it seems that there was a lot more information. And then there seems to be some manipulation, because something that was going on, I think, because it was in the newspaper too, with the cleansing of the star people that was happening. It was going on in like 1918. So I don't know. There's so much manipulations and lies. It's like, man, could they even, I mean, they did jump around with the dates and stuff with the calendars. There is just so much lies about our whole history, though. I don't know. There's so many parts of it you just got to let go of. You just can't get so hung up on it, because it'll just drive you crazy. And, but let me think, because that guy, he was saying, because so that video, I'm sure I talked about this yesterday. I don't know. It's like I said, everything is so, like, I don't know, fragmented as, but the video that I had seen, so originally when I had seen it, it was a man and his daughter. They were out doing video of the moon for some reason. And then they start having a conversation, and they're freaking out because of this face that's by the moon. And so they're trying to zoom in and show this face. And but every time when I would see this, I was always looking at the moon. And so in the moon, it would just look like this white, and it would just, I don't know, I couldn't see any face. And so I just, was like, there's a lot of things I can't see that good, especially when it's small, so I don't really get all hung up on it. So I didn't think that much about it. And then I had seen where tons of people kept sharing that video. And, but I didn't stop because I'd already seen the video, I already knew I couldn't see the face. And so I just would skip past it. So I didn't realize, like, how many people were looking at it and sharing it and stuff. And then, whatever this video was, it started different because it's been duetted, or I think, no, it's stitched. So it's like somebody else starts a video and then they stitch it. Man, my nose is really itchy and drippy too. Oh, but I remembered tissue. Is that, So they were doing a stitch and they were talking about the video, and then it was like a stitch of another person's stitch where they're talking about, it's like all these stitches of these people talking about, and there's people saying like they're debunking it, but then they're not debunking anything, they're just talking about it. So I don't know what all is going on about it, and it's so freaky looking, where it's like, this has got to be one of these blue beam things or something. This is absolutely so freaky looking, and it's kind of horrifying. And every time, and it's been stuck in my head, and every time that I see it, it makes me have like this feeling in my chest, like, oh God, it's really so creepy. And so I did a video yesterday on TikTok, just to say, I don't even know what I had said. It was like, I don't get any views ever. I only get like a couple hundred views. The other day I got, I don't know, it was like 400. Oh, it was like on the footprint on my porch. And I think that one got a couple thousand views. And so, but you know, most of my videos only get a couple hundred views. So I don't know. It becomes kind of like, you just don't get that concerned about what you're saying. You know, you're only talking to a couple hundred people who see you regularly, that they kind of know your personality, but there will always be these people who will pop up out of nowhere. It's like, where the hell did you come from? And so I don't know, you get kind of more lax, just like on here when I'm talking, there's so many people I talk to regularly in the comments. It's just like I'm just talking to friends or something, so it just becomes more just relaxed. And so it was like that on there. So I don't really know what the hell I said in this video, but right now it's like at 22,000. And it keeps going. But I was talking about this moon thing, and the comments. There's so many comments. There's like so many people commenting on my commenting on this video, and so many people have seen it and they're freaked out. And then a lot of people, you know, are, oh, it's a hoax. So it's tons of people are saying it's a hologram. But it looks like one because it doesn't, it's weird. It's so weird. Like, you have to see it. And then when I had gone and searched to go and look for the video, because I wanted to, I think I wanted to send it to Amy or something. And so I went to go look for the video. So I searched it. And then I saw, oh my God, there's a whole bunch of these different ones of there was other angles. So there was other people who were getting a video of the same thing from a completely different place, not these people. So there's overlapping videos, which still, if it was a hologram kind of situation, it would still be seen by all different people. And they could be trying to do some hologram thing as a practice, and maybe it's going to be a big hologram. You know, they're going to turn the firmament into like the sphere or something and do some big show up there. And I don't know, to wake people up, to get them to see that this world isn't what they think, that they've been tricked and lied to, and to get them to start thinking for themselves and quit being a product of their environment. And you know, it's a lot. So let me think. Okay, so I was saying about still waking me up at fucking 12:30, then my day will be so fragmented, and just trying to get into the flow of that, and just trying to get into the groove of like, okay, well, I mean, why do I need it to be anything different? And then it's weird because like, it's today's the day before, so tomorrow's Christmas Eve, and then Monday's Christmas Day, which that extends the holiday. So if there's something with the banks or whatever, and I guess New York on their news, they put out a warning, but they keep doing this shit, but they put out a warning with all this terrorist stuff that's happening, all this action, all these threats that are going on. Just the fact that we just, as American citizens, we said, hey, come over, we're going to join in with you. Let's bring your flags, let's go. Let's just march through our streets and make demands over here. Let's just, I don't know, it's wild. It's wild to watch what people do, and like that they don't think it through or something. Seems like a bad idea to me, but anyways, so the what was I gonna say? But because I keep being stuck on something with Stella, so but I have noticed, okay, so on the medicine stuff, because I've noticed, because this will be her 4th dose, will be today, and it's just her overall, like, how she just seems to have more energy. She's still being really whiny, which I don't know, like, if it's just all just body aches and pains, or if it is heartbreak and loneliness. And then yesterday it just rained and rained and rained all day here. We did go out for a little walk. It was still drizzling. And so she just went over to the neighbors and walked around with him for a while. And then just kind of did a little walk, a little circle, and went back home. But, so she seems like she's just doing really, really good. And so I feel super hopeful. And I'm just going to keep giving her that stuff. Because that's what I've seen, that people who use it for autoimmune for the dogs, is that they just do it's a regular, that they just take it. I don't even know what all is in it. But, like when you eat asparagus and your pee smells that weird smell? That is what I have noticed about this stuff. It is like my pee has a weird, like it's like a chemical or something. And I had seen where somebody, I don't know if it was a doctor, what was when I was looking up about the different things about it. And I saw all different viewpoints and stuff. But this one doctor was saying it's a medicine. It's a chemical. There's chemicals in it. And so, but it seems to be helping her, and maybe it's like a compound that's more healthy or something. Because why do they want to hide it? It's the things that they don't make money off of that they want to hide and try and make it like it's illegal and you can't use it. Because there's another one too that they're doing the same thing, and I had seen something about it and about how it's such a miracle stuff, and all the things that it cures. And so they hide that because they don't make any money off of it. But they use it in other countries to cure cancer and shit. So, anyways, let me think. So in New York, so they had said that on the news that they are to be aware that there could be a terror attack on New Year's Eve in Times Square. That just seems like such a good idea. Like, it just seems like hard to believe that they could bypass that, pass it up. And then we have more of these, I don't know, attorney generals or governor, whatever these different people are. Like, there's so many positions in politics that they have created just to get control over us, just to control and contain us, make rules for us, while they just sit there breaking them all. And you can see how that gets them all into their ego, so that they think they're above the law, they're above things, and they can just commit crimes. They look down on people as that they don't have any worth. And that is even a thing in the Rockefeller stuff too, is to get us to look at ourselves like we have no worth, but look at other people like they have no worth. Because then you don't care what happens to other people. There's no unity. There's just like, who cares? Which they've already, have that in China. Like, people can die right on the streets. I mean, there's all these footage of people like getting hit, like the traffic's really crazy. And people get hit by a car and be laying on the ground, just like dying, struggling, screaming, whatever you would do if you're get hit by a car. And people just walk over them. They just keep on walking just like they're not even there. It's like nobody cares, nobody pays attention. They're just all, I don't know what is, they somehow get people just to be so much in their mind, to be completely cut off from other people. Like, I don't know, and I'm sure it's to all different degrees. I'm sure not everybody is as lost as some of the people, but it's just weird when that girl was sitting there showing about, how people are so wild in New York, and then you go there and people are so calm. It's like, there are more robots over there. At least these people are still showing emotion. They're still showing that there's something in there. They're angry, they're bitter, they are, even though it's not pleasant to see so much negative and so much darkness be expelled from, an entire community, but it is, it's like necessary. What is with the other people? Are they just repressing it? They just hold it in? Do they lose a part of themselves? That to me is like where it seems like they've just become so robotic, so cut off from themselves. And so, I don't know, because that is when you're just like a mindless droid. When you just are automatically go to work, get your job done, go home, do whatever your routine is, go to bed, get up, do it the next day, and just do that every day, every day, every day. And then when you get your money, have no problem where you only get a small portion of it, that the government, through different agencies, are able to take out huge amounts of your money. And then what they don't take, they just drive up the prices of the things you need and then charge extra so that they can always even develop third parties to have things sold in, take complete control of resources in import and export, and completely just created lazy people who just rely on them, that don't even know how to do stuff for themselves, don't even think about that would be something that would be necessary, to the point where people have forgotten how to take care of themselves. They don't even know that they can. I gotta turn this more. I feel like I keep trying to sit to try and keep my head up there. So I have these big pillows that I'm trying to, I don't know what I'm trying to do. I don't know. I'm trying to keep up with my own mind. Okay, just let me think. I feel like I'm just totally all over the place, but it's how I feel, just totally scattered. Like I feel just totally all over the place. And it feels so strange right now. It feels really weird, especially to be coming in talking about stuff, because when you go out and you listen to all these people talking, it's like all these people are just screaming and screaming out their thoughts, their fears, what they're positive about, what they're sure about. And some of the people, I just think some of the stuff sounds so wacky. And I don't know. There's wacky stuff. Like the lady, the Lucifer lover lady. Like she's just going so far down in the dark, man. And she's just like, she's descending. That's for sure. And then she's looking for a sacrificial lamb. She's going to kill it and get all the blood and pour it all over herself, but she's going to give the lamb to somebody to eat for Christmas. And then she's going to say out under the moonlight as her and Lucifer, because they're already become one or something. And she's going to sit out under the candle under the moonlight until morning. And that's when Lucifer is going to come in and save the world. So she has to do all this stuff to save the world. It's like, there's other people, who I had seen them, that they were the second coming, and they were going to be shown as the second coming, and now they've disappeared. Like, there's so many of these people who I have seen who have shown signs of some type of psychosis, of being confused. Oh yeah, because that one guy, yeah, that's okay. So, but he was talking about in 1920s when they had changed everything, that one of the things they had changed was ether. They took it off of the what is that called? The mineral, the elements, the elemental table. They took off ether. This is what he was saying. I didn't go and look this up and check and all this stuff. And he was saying that because they wanted people to not understand about the ethers and the other worlds and the other beings, and they wanted it to seem far-fetched and make people think that it was crazy, so that they would be disconnected from that part of themselves in that part of the world. See, but that's the thing. To me, they couldn't disconnect me from that. That is where I was always connected to that, but I couldn't understand what was wrong with everybody else. Like, why nobody else was. Why everybody else was living so different. And then you try and talk to them, and then they would think you were so strange. And so there's like all of that kind of, I had a bunch of things coming in my head when I was saying that. Let me think. Because it was all of a sudden, it was just like, it was coming in my head when I was trying to say something else. And then all of a sudden it just goes out. Like, oh, I feel like everything is really frustrating right now. And but when I go on to like TikTok or something, it seems like there's all these people trying to shove their opinions down everybody else's throat. And oh, there was another thing besides the there's another, fuck, what was that one? Oh, there is I think there's a volcano in Indonesia, Iceland. There's a big earthquake. There's like so much activity. There's going to be a reverberation over here. There's going to be some sort of reverberation. It's going to be hitting over here. There's got to be some kind of event. And then if they are going to have some kind of terror event that's going to go on over there, because they keep making this warning and warning and warning, but they keep going in and arresting all these really top officials, these AGI, something even beyond that. Like, it's now there's a different one. It was like Texas, or the something, because it's not the governor, it's something else, like a governor attorney or something, attorney governor or something. And so they have the, you know, oh, this one's being arrested or that one's being arrested. And there's all these different things that keep being exposed. That's why I had said before, everything that they do that drags out, it's because they're exposing something else. It's like they're dragging something else into it. And so even though it seems so tedious and long-winded, and it seems like it's never fucking gonna end, that it's like they have to bring all these people, like, to show the corruption, and show the corruption in all these different states, how corrupt. And just the fact that they have different rules and different laws in different states, like that right there is outrageous. And there's so much to me of all this stuff about the immigrants and stuff. There is going to be, I don't know, there's something to it all about with the freedom and stuff. There was this journalist who was just talking about that she was on an airplane. You should fly around all the time to go do journaling. And so she said that there was a whole ton of people on the airplane who all had a plastic bag in their lap, and they all had the same stuff in the bags. Cell phone, I don't know, obviously a bag that was given to them. And so they're all loaded up somewhere, and then they're flown on these planes to other places. So the steward, or the lady, the journalist, starts asking the stewardess, and she said it was really strange. But then the pilot came back and started talking to her, and he started saying that, I'm pretty sure it said the pilot came in and started talking. He said there's no air marshals anymore. The air marshals are out spending their time driving and picking these like chauffeurs to get these people to their flights. They have no idea who these people are. They come in with no names or anything. They don't have to show any identification. They're just put on these flights, and then they're taken to different locations. They're all given these bags of stuff so that they can be in contact with them. And so they're just going and moving people around like I don't know, that really shows a lot about the airlines and the corporation. And that all leads to just, is the government, the crown, the corporation, it's all like the same complex. It's all like the same organism. And it's just the different legs or tentacles of the organism in our life. And so it's all the overstep. It's all the parasitic, uh, the parasitic withdrawal of our energy from society, from us individually, but from the collective overall society. And so it's a built system in order to feed themselves and to draw from us. But then they have to keep the people in the dark. They have to keep the people sick in order to draw from their energy, to have the least amount of disruption. And it's so easy just to distract people, to give them some artificial purpose, make them think that they're fighting for some other people's lives clear across, which I have no idea. Like, the amount of footage, the amount of people that focus on it, the amount of the whole agenda. When they start having these actors coming out and talking about it and stuff, there's a whole fucking agenda, and they're trying to create another war. That's what their whole thing is always about. It's their best way to funnel money, and they get rich off of that. And they always like the things that they reduce the population, they destroy families, they cause chaos, they create division. It's just a win-win for them, and it keeps us always in a disruption, always in, well, they're aiming us towards poverty, aiming us towards, to all just be completely dependent and have nothing. And the biggest thing that they always want to do too is destroy people's self-esteem, destroy people's ability to believe in themselves, destroy people's ability to realize that they have skills, that they don't need to be dependent on these people, that they can go out and create their own way of survival, their own way to eat. And these people have been marketing and selling them a lifestyle that is nothing but a fantasy. And it's in order to even be a part of their society, it's all about division. You have to have something inside of you that says, like, I don't hate this person. I don't even know this person. Why do I hate this person? I don't even know this person. But there's some people who get caught up in it, who just look at the overall, they just look at their age, their color, their weight, whatever it is the dividing factor for this person. They have so much division created. I just can't even believe how many people rely on the labels, the generational labels, in order to come up with things to divide on. And it's like, you just take their tools, you take the things that they have given you, and then you just feed right into their hands. It's like, there is a difference. There's definitely a difference, but it was all done on purpose. It's like a fucking lab, is an experiment. Well, what happens if we do this? What happens if we do this? What happens when we introduce this? What happens when we introduce, I think that would be kind of like the introduction of drugs and pornography, like hardcore in the 80s, and I don't know, it's like this sexualization of society to get people to focus on, if they're gay, if they're bi, like getting people to really focus on this kind of stuff. And it's like, but it doesn't really have anything to do with that. It should have nothing to do with the sexual part of it. It should have to do with love and being in love with somebody. And then it shouldn't have to do with anything else. So I don't know. It was like a huge reduction of minimization of humanity at that point. And then the drugs, the hair stuff, and then the extreme amount of corn that came out at that time. Then the technology. And it seems like Sims and MySpace. It's like, if you look at it, how they were trying to direct people, like minimize people at MySpace, even made people into a page, people's page, try to really represent them. MySpace was a fun thing. It was creative and stuff. It was fun. But it also, here's where people started minimizing themselves, because now, like, fuck, man, the thing with the filters is really weirding me out. Like, I swear to God, you're seeing people who put these filters on, and it's like they think that the filter is them. And it's really weirds me out is these people who go and do these, like, the 70s and 80s filters, and they think like you would look different. Like, like, how do you think you would look different because you were in the 70s? Like, that would make you look different. I don't know, it's so strange. And then the filter, so I've stayed to watch a couple of them, because it's like, okay, what are they representing here? Is these 70s filters, and they have them all come out as like some sort of hippie mother goddess or something. It's like, oh my God, you guys, that's not what the 70s was like. It wasn't a bunch of hippie mother goddesses running around. And I mean, they have flawless skin in these things, and they think, oh, look at me, I'm beautiful. And it's like, in the 70s, your flaws were a lot more exposed. People did not have all of this, definitely people did not spend hours putting on makeup and doing all of this, whatever it's called. I don't know, to me, it's like, movie makeup. It's like they're doing the makeup that they do for special effects or something. They're doing stage makeup. They're not just doing, like, you go out like every day. Like, some of the faces, like when you see some of these people, like if you just go on TikTok and you see some of these makeup things, the person who shows their face, who puts on the makeup, and then what they do and turn their face into, is like, that is a total catfish. That is a total trick. And the person has got to know you're tricking. Like, you are putting on all this makeup so you look completely different. And then you're going out, like, but you don't look like that. Just like these people who keep doing these filters, where it's like they start seeming like that they think that they look like this filter, and that they're getting like an attitude about, like, based on how they look on this filter. One of the people too, Bold Glamour Girl, she is leaving. She says she's leaving TikTok, and she's going to Rumble. And I was thinking, I wonder if Rumble has filters. But I guess you could just get a filter on your phone and then just do your videos through your phone, so you can keep your filter on. I don't know. I don't know. The whole thing to me is weird. It's just like, you got to get used to your own face, not build more resentment towards your face by using this filter that makes you look perfect. But to me, it is like people have lost their minds now, where you think, like, because you would look completely different in the 70s or 80s, then you look like you'd be the same. You would just have different hair, different makeup styles. It's just different trends during different times. But like what I was saying, so it seems like with the millennials, so see, then they had boomers. I don't even know, because to me, it was that we were being raised in this daddy knows best, Ozzie and Harriet scenario, where there was so much pressure put on us that we had to be so perfect. You had to be like a model citizen. You had to be no feeling, no sexual desire. Like, you had to be very stale and very judged, and you could destroy your family, just like in the propaganda with the Suzanne Pleshette movie, where, if she had sex, then her mom was going to die, which they did kill her mom, because she destroyed everybody because she liked sex too much, and she cheated on her husband. She couldn't control herself, and her husband died, her mom died, everybody was dying because she was oversexed. So they were pushing like a certain agenda, and then all of a sudden it switched. And so I don't know. I don't know what it seems like that they didn't know for sure what they were doing there for a while. Because like I said, that there was a whole group of us that we weren't in a category. We weren't in the boomers and we weren't in the Gen X. We were just out there in Nothingville. And then as the older boomers started dying off, they just started scooting boomer into old person category, just to give it where it was kind of a cool new catchphrase for the young people. Anybody who's older, oh, okay, shut up, boomer. So then they start being like, well, a boomer is these years. It's like, okay, well, that's convenient. You just move it around. Like, what does it have to do with? Why are we called boomers? Like, because boomers were the baby boom after World War II. So what does it have to do with the 60s? So the baby boom prior to Vietnam, like what everybody was gonna do it. I don't know what the fuck. But so they so then they had the Gen X. That was the introduction with the sex and drug. All those kids were like latchkey kids, and their parents were all gone partying, and you hear all sorts of stories. Like their parents just completely ignored them. And then the Gen Z, was that the next one? Or is the next one millennials? I don't even know. I saw somebody doing some breakdown on it the other day about these different things through the different groups, that I just look at it differently. So then they introduced technology. I think they were the millennials. And then the Gen Z, and then the Gen A, and the Gen Z, I don't know. Like, I would have to really go in and see what was introduced more in the in-between, in the splicing between these two generations. There should be something that was introduced, and it can be like a social construct. It can be something introduced into society. I'm not sure what it would have been. Because there was an introduction, though, when before Gen X, of video games. Because I remember, because they used to do like Pac-Man and stuff like that, but then they started getting more advanced and started having them in people's houses. And people started becoming very enveloped into this world that was created onto this technology. So there was a development of the technology then, but I think that then they could see that how people become so enveloped into that world. And so I'm sure there was something about that, because as the video games started coming into people's houses, they started having those Ataris and different gaming systems. But when I would see people that they would become addicted, like they couldn't get up, they would sit there and just play and play and play. They had to keep trying to beat themselves, and they would just become consumed. And so to me, I was like, oh my gosh, this creates addictions. I don't want this at my house. So my kids weren't allowed to have one of those. Those video games weren't allowed at my house, because I thought this is just creating addiction. And then, but somewhere down like by Gen Z, but the Gen Alpha now, I am thinking that is where they have got mind control. They know they've got mind control. They know what's going on at the schools. They know what's happening with the kids. And they've caused such conflict. They've got conflicts going with the students and the teachers, the students and their parents. It's like it's a big ol', it's got to be a big storm. It's got to all blow apart so people can take a stand on how they really feel about it. Because where did we ever come up with that seemed like a good idea, to just send your little kid off when they're small into a controlled environment where other people's opinions are being put on them all day long, and then the parents to go be consumed with trying to uh, entertain money, get as much of it as they can, and then figure out all the things that they can spend it on to create this perfect life for their families. It's just so weird when you think about, like, in different cultures and different ways of living, and how ours is so success driven, so materialistic, so much like about what you own and what you have. How many toys do you have? You know, that gives you more of a more substance to people. The more that you have, the more things that you spend money on, and how you spend money and stuff, that makes people think like that you have more value. It's like, then what about the people who don't have anything? Where does their value come from? Because I think the value comes from inside. I think it becomes, the value is who you are as a person. I think that they give an artificial concept of value, and that's why we have people who are so ego driven, who think that they're better than other people because they have a lot of money. So then they think that they are better somehow. And it's like, then that is that's super ego driven, because you have money doesn't make you better than somebody. Because you have a bunch of stuff doesn't make you better than somebody. There's very good people. There's like monks or gurus or whatever, people who have nothing and still bring goodness to the planet. That to me is what is important, is what is the energy that you're bringing to the planet? What is the energy you bring to the people around you? Are you, are you creating hostility? Are you creating anger? And I think that there's a sense of, some anger has to be created to create change, but it depends on how you're putting it out there. Are you trying to challenge people in their own beliefs, or are you trying to create conflict with people to get them to believe what you believe? Because everybody has the opportunity and the right to believe and create the structure of their own beliefs for themselves. It doesn't have to do, once you start trying to be on somebody else's page, you're trying to please somebody else, and that's where you got to pull back and create and ask your own self, well, why am I trying to be something that somebody else wants me to be? Why am I trying to please somebody else? Am I doing something to please myself, or am I just trying to get something from this other person, like acceptance, love, appreciation, acknowledgement, something? And you just have to go and start really recognizing those kinds of things in yourself, so that you can, catch yourself, so you're not living like a toxic kind of lifestyle, that you're being more true to yourself, you're being more honest with yourself, and you develop better relationships when you don't have this toxic entanglement with somebody, where it's like the unsaid rules, like the games that we play. And there's a lot of people who, like, one person thinks they're playing one game, this other person thinks they're playing another game, and their games are just a conflict it's a cycle that is created between the two people, because they each have something playing out. They're playing out their own programs. They're playing out their own, it is like everybody has their own programming that is kind of developed from your own toxic childhood. And so the way you interact with people is already set as like your programs, like you're running your programs. Like there's an automatic response. You will respond this way, and then you expect these other people to respond this other way. And that's why just you going and changing yourself, see, it sets the programs all off. Because even though you think like, well, it all comes on me, I'm always got to be the one that changes, everybody else still just stays the same. But nobody can keep treating you the same. because you stop running the programs, you stop playing the games, so you can live more healthy. They can all keep having these interchanges, these exchanges of toxicity behaviors. They can continue to create that for themselves until they catch up for themselves, and then they see like, oh man, if I don't do that, then these scenarios change. If I'm not, to me, it's such a big one, is that how many people try and get other people to like them. So they do things to make people happy that they don't want to do. So they still go do it. That will, like this person could ask you to go do something and you don't want to, but for one thing, maybe you don't want to hurt their feelings. For another thing, maybe you don't want to just stand up for yourself. So you'll put yourself down and think, well, you could just go do it. What's the big deal? Just go do it and, stop whining. You got to do something nice for somebody sometime. But, what you really, I think, need to do is go in and sit and listen to yourself and question yourself. Be like, okay, do you want to do this? Is this something you want to do? If you don't want to do it, why do you not want to do it? Well, do you feel that that's a valid reason? Is that a good reason? What if somebody else was saying that? What would you tell them? Would you be supportive or would you push them? Sometimes you've got to figure out when to push yourself and when to put on the brakes, when to put up your guard, and when to say enough is enough. I'm not going to deal with that. That is not my problem. And sometimes it can be hard, and they do become more and more challenging. I'm telling you, the tests to see, like, yeah, you can do it, if somebody's a big jerk to you, but then when somebody is a really sweet, decent person, can you still put up boundaries? And can you still stand up to them? And and there's other ways that you have to learn and develop, to be more cautious of how you say things. And then plus you got to remember that is whoever the receiver is always going to take it different than how you are saying it, or how you think you are putting what you think you're putting out there. It's always going to be interpreted different by somebody else. So you have to be what's true to you. What can you live with about yourself? Who do you want to be? That's why you got to keep on going in and questioning, but going in thinking like that you're going to do something to make somebody else happy, but you're going to go against yourself, and then you're going to sit and talk to yourself and put yourself down and tell yourself like you don't have any right to not want to do something, that you should just do it because they need you to, and talk yourself into doing that. That is, it's everybody has their own lessons. If that's what you're doing, then, you have something to learn there. All I'm saying is just slow down your process and start thinking it through. Start really, it's like deciphering why you're doing things and what you're doing things, and start noticing for yourself. Do you have patterns that you are constantly going and doing things for people that you don't want to do because you think that that's going to make people like you? And that could go even with your attitude towards things. Like there's people who would go into a group like that they could be supportive of Trump, say, and they go around people who are supportive of him and they're all like, hell yeah. And then they go around people who are not, and then they have to hide that side of themselves, they think, because they don't want to have trouble, they don't want to have drama, they don't want to hear this person's opinion. So then they hide themselves, they pretend to be different, and then they can even be, tested in the way that people will start saying things to push to see, like, can you stand up for yourself? Can you say, well, that's not how I see it? Because this other person, they also need to have these other perspectives, the perspectives that you're hiding because you're trying to protect yourself. You can also take a risk and share them, and then that plants a seed for somebody else. So it's like spreading the news. And so then that's where you've got to find your own little ways of maneuvering through And sometimes, it's handy to just know like some current events and know the other side. So then when people are saying they're one side, because they're only getting half the story told to them. And so when they're getting their half of the story, one thing that's really handy is to share the other half, to tell them what else is going on, what the part is that they're leaving out. Even though a lot of the people, especially when it comes to TDS and stuff, the people just cut you off as soon as you start giving them a different narrative, that they zone out, they can't accept it. But there's other scenarios and all these different things. There's so many hot topics right now, and there's so many more gatherings that are going to be happening over the next couple of weeks. And so when you are in these gatherings, when you think, you got to hide yourself in order to find peace. But really, the peace comes from inside of you when you're not hiding yourself, when you're being truthful and honest. And then you've got to figure out how to represent yourself without being aggressive and angry. And so just knowing some facts over some different conversations that, people will end up talking about, because, we've all been around the conversations. And so, like different things that people will talk about. And so just to know some other things, you don't have to go into them to start fights. You don't have to go into them to try and be aggressive. But if you are constantly hiding yourself and not being true to yourself, then you're going to feel bad about yourself. And you're going to feel that it's like a shame. Like, why do I have to feel bad about myself? Why do you have to feel bad about yourself? Because who you think should be in charge of things right now? Or there's so many things, like it comes to the food, the medicine, the health, the government. Like, there's so many things. And so there's so many things to be divided on in different families and stuff. Like, you go into a family where everybody is focused on cancer, and half the family's got it, and they're all talking about all this stuff with medical, and then, inevitably we'll hear some kind of traumatic situation where it's the perfect time to interject, the truth about Western medicine. But you can't, nobody's going to sit and listen to a long lecture and, start pulling out things about the Rockefellers and all that stuff. Nobody cares about that. And so it's like a little hidden gem or something, a little thing that you can pull out, a little seed to plant over some different herbs and different things that people have been talking about, where people have been doing more holistic healing, and get those people to look into something for themselves, empower themselves to try something new for themselves, so then they can go and spread awareness to the other people in the family, something that's working for them. But so if you have some kind of really good evidence or something that you can present, when you know that there's going to be a conversation about that, like, you can't go in and tell everybody like Western medicine's bad, they're trying to kill you, because they can't hear that. They can only hear what but you can, but that's where you got to just be a lot more thoughtful in what you're representing, what you're presenting. And it can be something about the food and toxicity, and about how to keep yourself healed and healthy and stuff, with different herbs and different natural remedies and stuff. Another one too is I don't know. So many people need to keep understanding the importance of cooking more stuff from scratch. And so, I don't know, trying to get people to understand the stuff about the health of the food. One thing is, I'm always dropping those little nuggets about the gross stuff in the food. And it's just getting people to realize, like, when they are doing stuff and messing with your food, and they keep it in these big bins and stuff, of course it's getting bugs. And like, I had heard this when I was a kid, is in cereal and stuff, like, just grosses me out. But they're allowed a certain amount of like rat turds, a certain amount of dead bugs. They're allowed to have all that stuff in it. And so I don't know if they stop talking about that at some point. But I grew up hearing about that. And so Like, I knew that there was bugs and stuff in the food, but still, I bought lots of raviolis. I used to buy Pop-Tarts. I used to buy all of that stuff. Even my mom, like when I was a kid, my mom was like that young teenager who wanted to do all of the new kind of new artificial food. Like it was, I don't know, it's weird. You take her from the farm and then you move her into the city, and all of a sudden she wants us all on like Tang and astronaut food, and I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know what they did with people's minds. They just twisted people's minds up. They got people to think like that was some kind of advancement. Like, don't use remedies, don't eat healthy, just eat unhealthy. And then when I see these people with them do their recipes, it's not just even the microwave. It's just like it's mind-boggling, the stuff that they just don't have one bit of concern for their health. It's like and in it, it's not even just the sweetness. It's like you've got so many different sweetness flavors in there. It's kind of like, what is you've overridden it. You've gone past where it needed to be. And it's like people are just so consumed by, I don't know, it's like this certain energy. But I feel like this certain energy is so at the surface. It's at the surface with all these people, with all this kind of different, uh, uh, the effects, like the effects of, in our society, like the food, this gluttony kind of over the top kind of recipes where it's just like, several cake mixes, and add some marshmallows, add some caramel sauce, add in some chocolate pieces, and just one thing after another, where it's like overdone, where it's like that is what so many people, it's like everybody's life has become, just give me more, give me more, give me more, and it's never enough. Just give me more, because maybe one day it'll be enough, but it's never enough. And everybody just takes and takes and takes. Nobody cares who they're taking from. I was watching this movie yesterday, and it was something Witness. It had Brian Dennehy, and I can't remember the one guy's name. Some of these actors, it's like they were coming out in multiples, I swear to God. Like this guy and Tom Berenger, I think is Aiden something, but it's like, man, are him and Tom Berenger some from the same DNA? But so he witnesses murder in a restaurant in New York, and it was like in the 70s or something. And seeing that show Deuce, it shows so much of this kind of stuff. But in the movie, then when the guy he shoots the guy and he walks out of the place and he looks over and the guy is in the phone booth, so he looks at him directly, and the guy who just killed, he looks at him and just kind of smugly smirks and keeps going, and then everybody clears out of the place. Everybody, even the guy who works at the place, he was like, oh, he didn't see a thing, he was washing dishes. Everybody left. There's a prostitute who was there, and she's like, I wasn't watching, I'm just here trying to make money. And nobody will tell. Well, then it gets to this guy, and he starts telling. Well, then he finds out it was a hit, and it was gang related and stuff. And back then, there was so much about these like neighborhood kind of communities. It seems like it has gone on for a long time in New York. Like the Irish was against the Italians, against the Jews, against the Chinese. Like there was all this division. And then the Italian, like the different gangsters, they would even go in and make the people have to pay to protect them. And you weren't allowed to tell, and you protected your neighborhood. And so people would know who the neighborhood thugs were, but you had to protect them. And I don't know, it was like really showed it, because even like the dad of the guy goes in and starts threatening this person's kids, and you protect the neighborhood. In the Brian Dennehy's like one of these AGs or something, and he's going for the bigger people, the more gangland people. And so he's trying to get this gangster to turn on the other ones. So he's using the citizen to try and push this whole agenda. And then he starts talking about Rico, and he starts talking about, for one thing, they were talking about Rico. So I had done a little TikTok on it, because that is a big thing that people are going to be hearing so much about with the racketeering and stuff. Like, I think Nancy Pelosi, like, there's going to be a lot of these people that are going to go down for that. So he was explaining some with that. And then he also said that let me think, because he had said the Rico thing, there was just something else that was coming in my mind that he was talking about, because it seemed like it was like for current events, what's currently going on in our society. Oh, yeah, because he was saying about the people don't realize that everybody's in there getting a take on things. And like, everybody just finds a way to get in there in society so that they can take, and they're all taken from the same thing, which then it just makes us all end up being dependent on this criminal influence or something. But everybody gets their part in there and starts taking. And that's what I had talked about all this time ago, when everybody keeps being focused on it's the cabal, it's the cabal. It's like, no, it's all the people. It's all of the people who played their parts. All these fucking realtors who would do that bullshit. All of these investors, all of these contractors, doctors, lawyers, judge, all these people who played the parts in order to keep this corruption going, all getting, their payoff. It was all just passing the buck around so everybody could cut a piece. And it created this toxic society. That's the part that we have to see being purged out. This is the part we're witnessing, is the toxicity that was created by the people. The people all became toxic products of their environment. If the world was toxic and corrupt and corrosive, then the people just thought, well, that they just will use that part of themselves in order to survive in this world. But to me, I don't know why I was able to know that you don't want to feed into that part. You want to stay in the light, no matter how much dark comes in. You want to hold on to the light, because any parts that you feed of the dark, it will suck the life out of you, and it puts everything out of balance. I don't know. There's just like a whole thing to it, and I don't know. That's where it just becomes like so. Oh my gosh, why am I even saying all this stuff? Like, you got all these people saying all this weird stuff. And to me, it's just like I'm another strange voice out there saying weird stuff to people. And I just don't want to be like another strange voice that is just trying to tell people, this is it, this is it, this is it. And it's weird to me, because I know, I can feel it, I can see it. And I can feel it inside of me. And then it makes me think, well, do these other people who are saying all this weird stuff, do they feel it inside of them? Is it all just different perspectives at all different levels? But anyways, it just really right now just feels like everybody is yelling something at you. It's like all these commercials. It is just this whole, I don't know. It feels like it's so close to everything changing. Like, it's got to be so close to it changing. And I hope that this is the weekend, that it is like some sort of Christmas thing. There are always people coming up with dates and weird things that are going on. And there's a weird one about today. And I don't know if you follow the stuff from the Strip, which there's people hanging on every little thing that happens. But there was a grandpa, and he was looking for his 4-year-old granddaughter. Well, she was 3, I guess, because today is their birthday. It would be both his and hers birthday today. But she is no longer with us. And so I don't even know. I don't sit and listen to all these different things where they're saying, but I don't know. So something's supposed to go on today, and then There's all these different days of all these different things that are supposed to be happening. Like there's a lot that's supposed to be happening. And I think that there's a lot happening. And you can't get too caught up in like, well, this is supposed to happen. Then if it doesn't happen, then it's like, oh my gosh, nothing's going to happen. It's just going to keep going like this. No, I see things keep happening. Things keep happening and pushing us and pushing us. We're definitely going to be pushed over to the other side. Everything is going to flip the other direction. And there's another interesting thing about 2024 is that it is the year of the dragon, which is the number 8. So it's a big thing that's changing into this in the Chinese year thing. And so the 8 is infinity. So it is everything that your karma and stuff is going to come back on you. So all this stuff, what I was been saying about the energy is going to switch and everything you've been putting out is going to come back on you. And so a lot of people don't realize how much anger and division that they've been putting out in the world, and how it comes back on people will be all different. Like, you know, I don't know. It's all each person's individual stuff that's playing out. You can get all hung up on it and caught up on it and trying to decipher it and figure out who's right and who's wrong and all that stuff. But it's all these different soul patterns and soul things playing out. So it doesn't really matter or make a difference. But anyways, to me, that there is a lot of stuff that is going on, and a lot of things are changing. And what was though? Did I finish saying what I was gonna say about if it was the 23rd or 24th or 25th? Was it something about that? I don't even remember what I just said. I feel like I'm just trying to keep up with the words that are coming into my head and the pictures. And so the last few days, I have no idea what I've been talking about either. And I feel really out of it. I feel really tired. Yesterday it was raining. Today it's supposedly supposed to be sunny, which that's always what they do to get you to come out and get all the chemicals that you just were rained down on top of us. And so, I don't know. I'm so sick of this. So burnt out on this. What was it? It was something about the end of December. Just something about this end of December. I know that the 123 is the ending of the year. And oh yeah, because I was talking about the changing of the energy. So whatever energy you've been putting out, that it will whip back on you. And that is going to be a big thing. That is going to be the biggest part of the truth. Where all the people, because the truth keeps coming out, the truth will be intertangled with people's own truth. However, whatever truth they were in denial of, or whatever they weren't paying attention to, or whatever, and their own biases, the own part of themselves will come up. And so the different relations to the different situations that are going on will be what they will go through in their own process. So all these different people have all these different processes to go through. And nothing will be just like one thing, one size fits all. It'll be a whole bunch of different things. But it's be people's own truth, their truth of what their energy, what it is they've been putting out. And so if you've been putting a lot of fear out, you know, it will become clear to you. If you've been putting a lot of anger out, it will become clear. Like, I don't know. It will be all different. It's not like you could say one thing for sure. Oh, well, if you've been putting fear, then this will for sure happen. No, it's going to be different things. So when you're having the experiences that are coming back on you, just remember that that's there for you to learn. It's there for you to see yourself. It's there for you to understand another part of yourself. And so just when things are coming back, just look at it more of it as an observer. Stand back more and try and look at your stuff more as an observer. Get out of the feeling of feeling overwhelmed by yourself and step back and watch yourself and see things, because it gives you more of a clarity, more clearly to be able to see yourself if you can step back and not feel it, but just observe it. And so that, I think that will help significantly for people when they start going through this process. But that process has to do too with the year of the dragon, apparently. Like, I didn't know that that has a representation of that, this switching. So that also shows it. So, and in the way that this year ends with the 1 2 3 1 2 3, it's like we're just starting. It's like a whole new start is about to go. But you have to be willing to see yourself. You have to be willing to face yourself. You have to be willing to try harder, do better, to to see the real problem comes from within, and that you can fix those problems. You can make a better world, a better place, when you aren't judging and being divisive with other people because other people have hurt your feelings or harmed you in some way. So that when you become more sure of yourself and more set, and you aren't as affected by other people and what other people think, and it makes you stronger and more sturdy, and it makes you not be so fragile. And I don't know, because when you are in that fragile state, it makes people more angry at other people, and they get upset and angry, and, well, you don't appreciate me, you don't care about me, and those kinds of things. But we got to move out of those kinds of feelings and just put all of those feelings onto ourselves, of learning how to love ourselves, learning how to care about ourselves, and having everybody else be able to do that for themselves. So nobody needs to put themselves aside to care for us, just like we don't need to put ourselves aside to care for them. Everybody needs to learn how to care for themselves and pour all the love that they need into themselves. And then that reverberates out into society. When you love yourself and you feel good about yourself and you want to do good things, because it makes you feel good, then that just goes out into the world. So anyways, I'm so uncomfortable and I feel so scattered. And I keep having these other things that come in, but sometimes it's just like, oh my God, I don't even know how to explain some of that stuff. And then sometimes I just feel like I'm just saying the same things over and over and over. But I don't know. I guess, I don't know. You guys can tell me if I'm just saying the same thing over and over. I don't know. I have no idea at this point. I can't even believe that this is about to be my anniversary of starting my 4th year doing this. It's like, that is just so wild to me. Because all of 2021, all of 2022, all of 2020, I can't even believe it's been 3 whole years. It just blows my mind. And how far I've come in the 3 years, for how I felt when I started and how I feel now. That is, a huge change. And so I can definitely see all the growth that occurs when you push yourself to do things that you're not comfortable doing, to try things that, seem strange or seem odd. And then you go and try them, and then you find parts of yourself that you didn't know existed. And you just see different sides of yourself. And you don't get to see different sides of yourself if you're always playing it safe, if you're never trying anything different. And so, anyways, I say, everybody's got to push themselves, try something different, go out and, see what you're made of. And, that's how I think that's what life is really about. I think that is one thing, too, is that these super spirits are doing. They're trying to bypass life. They're trying to, I don't know, I hear a lot of weird stuff what these people say. And I think it's important to just get into why you're here. You're here to experience. What are you here to experience? What kinds of scenarios and stuff play out? Seems like a lot of learning, a lot of growing. Like, to me, it just is like you go in and you start thinking things through and seeing things differently and looking at, the purpose of what life is all about. To me, it seems like it seems easy to figure out. So, but I don't know. I hear all these people say all different things, and but and then again, a lot of things I hear people say, it sounds like it's all based on fear, or it's based on programming and indoctrination, and all of that stuff has been so fake. But now I'm having too many things coming in my head again, because now is this other stories of more fake stuff about the Bible and religion, and there's so much that's going to be coming out. There's so much, and there's so many people who are so trapped in so many different ways of thinking, and where they've dedicated their lives and their energy, and it's all, going up in flames. Everything is going up in flames. You have to really understand what you're made of, what this place is, and get comfortable. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable, I guess, because this is all about a time of change. This is all about a time of transformation and transition. So, anyways, I'm gonna go. My stomach is growling like crazy, and I've already drank a couple of cups of tea. I'm gonna go drink some more. Now it's almost 4. I probably will. I don't know. It seems like I go back to sleep like around 6 or something, and I'll go back to sleep till like 8, and then it's like a whole nother part of the day starts. So then I get up, go take Stella out, go. I don't know. Everything just seems weird. On top of everything, how weird it seems that it's Christmas, and that it does not seem like it seems so much like Krampus Christmas where I'm at. It's so dark and so eerie, and the sky is so weird. And that fucking that still has got me so weirded out. That face, it is so weird. It's got to be some kind of hologram. It is so fucking creepy. And the way that it's different angles. Like the people, the girl and the dad who got it is like looking, it's above them, looking down on him. But then there's other ones that got it more from the side and stuff. There's other angles. Like, it's very strange. I don't know what is ahead. I don't know what the plan is. And then it's like, is it how much of it is the blue beam, their plan, how much of it is what they're doing, how much of it is natural, how much of it is where this whole thing is falling apart, how much of it is just a slow open. Because somebody had footage yesterday of like, I don't know, it was like 6 or 8 spaceships going, and then they were being followed by helicopters. It's like, are they just trying to get people to wait, like, or are people just making this fake footage? Like, I don't even know. But the thing with that face up by the moon, there was like a bunch of different people who got it from different angles. That's the thing. So if it is some kind of weird hologram, which it would seem like it would have to be, like it isn't like looking at a ghost. It's like looking at a face, like a face. But it is almost looks like it's like carved out of clay. Like and somebody had shown like under the water, like there's these statues and stuff that are under the water that are like our hidden history. And so it showed kind of like that, and then it showed that face. I was like, oh my gosh, that kind of gives that sense of the under the water and this reflection. So we're in the upside down, and so our history is right above us. It's like right staring us down, like all of this truth, all of these lies. I mean, all of the truth, all of these lies that we've been told is like staring down on us. And then when it flips, is it where those things are under the water? But right now, because the waters are all around us. It isn't, it's like this plasma. It's not like, I don't know. Everything is just much different than what people think. So I don't know. But it does seem weird. It looks like one of those statues from under the water, but it looks like it's above, looking down on us next to the moon. But I don't think I don't know if it's been up any other nights. I don't know. But anyways, we'll just keep going and going. But I'm tired, and And anyways, let's just make the best of it, I guess. This is Christmas holiday. Maybe some people are having really good. Maybe some people have this really sweet, nice white Christmas and everything seems really wholesome and sweet. But over here, it doesn't. It definitely seems like Krampus is on his way, and it seems like it's eerie with the weather. Like, it would not surprise me at all for us to all of a sudden have a big earthquake. Anything can happen, and who knows what's going to happen. You just got to be like, okay, when something starts going down, you got to be like, okay, this is what I'm here for. This is why I'm here. Nothing's happening by accident. I knew this was going to happen. Now I just got to see what's next. Like, who knows? I guess that's the exciting part, is we don't know what's next, even though it seems like, oh my God, I just want to know what's next. So, okay, well, enough of my talking, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll probably just be just as wacky as today, but I'll talk to you tomorrow. Talk to you later. Bye.